Yeah, it does. The 1:20 p.m. session features the Drake University Bulldogs. They are the 11th seed in the West region. They are the Missouri Valley Conference regular season and tournament champions. They will play number 6 seeded Missouri tomorrow night at 6:35 p.m. The head coach is Ben McCullum, who will follow these two gentlemen here. The men's basketball contact is Jack Bloom. And on the dais is Bennett Sturts and Mitch Mascari. And we're going to go right to questions. Start right here. Thank you.
Yep, Bennett, I'm curious, growing up in Liberty, how many people, friends, family members, and what ties you might have had to Mizzou growing up?
Yeah, I really didn't have many ties. So both of my parents went to K-State, and then all three of my brothers went to K-State as well. So there's a K-State tie. But, yeah, after we got matched up with Mizzou, a lot of friends texted me. So a lot of people from my high school went to Mizzou, stuff like that. So I'd say those are some ties.
Back row. Thank you.
This one's kind of for both of you. How do you guys kind of go into games where you might have a size disadvantage that you probably have in this one, and what is just kind of the alternate version of how you kind of handle that going into this matchup?
Mitch first, and then Bennett, please.
It's more so just doing what we do on defense. We're pretty active with our hands. We're pretty physical. And we like to, box out a good amount and let our rebounders get a board. So when it comes down to size, you can only control what you can control. And when it comes down to it, it's just our habits that we need to focus on.
Yeah, I think we've been dealing with it all year. We're pretty undersized, and we're used to it. We had a good, strong non-conference schedule, so we played teams like Vandy, K-State. We were undersized there, so I'd say we're used to it. And, yeah, it's going to be a physical game, and we'll be ready for it.
Start here, going in the aisle. Remember, name and affiliation. First time you ask a question. Thank you.
Grant Salzman, Columbia, Missourian. For both of you as well, how did that experience in St. Louis at the Missouri Valley Tournament kind of prep you guys for what this tournament will bring to you?
Bennett, you're first this time.
Yeah, the Missouri Valley Conference is a great conference, and I think feel like it's underappreciated sometimes. There's really good teams in it, and yeah, just playing in a big arena too. I think that helps a little bit. Just helps us get acclimated to the scene. We know, yeah, Mizzou fans are going to bring it, and it should be a good atmosphere on Thursday.
Yeah, I think just playing in that atmosphere, like Bennett said, people say that we might have gotten at large, we might have not, but to us, we don't really think about that. We just, high stake, high reward kind of thing, and that's what it is this weekend as well.
Eli Hoff, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. For both of you on both ends of the floor, what needs to happen for you guys to get a result against Missouri?
Mitch, you're first.
I think it's really just listening to coach. We have some of the best coaches in the country, and I think they're going to put us in the right position to, be effective on offense and defense. We've, like Bennett said earlier, we've played some high talented teams back in Charleston and K-State. So it's really just focusing on what we do and imposing our will.
Yeah, I think it's just we're going to have to play our game. Obviously, the SEC's best conference in the nation. Mizzou will be ready to go. They play really physical, and they try to speed you up, things like that. So I'd say just play at our speed, just not get sped up, and just play calm.
Go to Harry first, and then to the second row. Go.
Yeah, Harry Schrader, Valley Hoops Insider. Glad to be with you guys. Talk about, Bennett, you said we have to play our game and stay within ourselves. Where's that mentality come from? How do you stay calm and stay in the moment?
Bennett? Yeah, go ahead.
Probably just being in the moment like that. I feel like Coach Mack will put us in the position, and he has been this whole week, just getting us prepared. And like in practice, we're having the music blare loud. So just trying to put us in positions just similar like that.
Yeah, Mitch, same thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we've been preparing for it all week. Yeah, we have 3 different speakers playing 3 different songs, heavy metal. So if you can be calm under that, I think the crowd noise is going to be all right.
Gabe DeArmond with PowerMizzou.com. Bennett, you say you need to not get sped up as the guy with the ball in your hands. What goes into that? I mean, how do you avoid that happening in a game?
Yeah, obviously I have the ball in my hands a lot of the game, but just trusting my teammates. I've been used to it, just getting trapped most of the season, stuff like that. Knowing that I'm not the only guy out there, I trust my teammates, and they'll put me in the right positions, and I'll try and put them in the right positions, and also just trust the coaching staff. They'll obviously put me in the right positions as well.
For both of you as well, what's it like, 1 year ago you were in Maryville at Northwest Missouri State and coming here with coach, and now you're in the NCAA tournament. What's that year been like for both of you?
Mitch?
It's been pretty surreal. I mean, this was obviously a dream of ours when we decided to come to Drake. So to be here has been a lot of fun. We've actually been practicing at Newman University, which is in the MIAA, so it's kind of been a full circle thing, going from Newman to this arena. But it's been a lot of fun, and we got a lot more work to do.
Yeah, D2 basketball is pretty good, but it's still pretty crazy that just we're in this moment. Yeah, just being at March Madness could be once in a lifetime opportunity. So I think just trying to take it all in and just respect the journey and yeah, just take it all in.
Yeah, can you guys both speak to Tavion's growth and improvement throughout the whole year? I know he's, elevating the program as the season goes on.
Bennett?
Yeah, I can speak to Tavion and like Isaiah Howard, guys like that, just first-year guys and Max program. Everyone took a huge step, and it was great just seeing their process throughout the year. Just seeing their confidence grow up a little bit was pretty special to see.
Yeah, we've known it ever since we got to campus that these guys were going to be special. It was just a matter of when and how they buy into Max culture and Max's system. So to see them really flourish at the right time, it's been really cool to watch.
Anything else for, yes, back row on the left. Thank you.
Especially with a lot of you guys being from Missouri, is there anything extra going into this game playing against the biggest school in the state?
Bennett?
Yeah, so there's I think 6 guys from Kansas City on the team. So I don't say there's not any extra pressure or motivation, stuff like that. But it's pretty cool seeing that we're playing Mizzou. Yeah, I wouldn't say extra pressure, but it's also cool. We got one guy from Wichita too, so he's back home. I know Caleb Grill's back home as well, so it's pretty cool that both teams are trying to get to stay a little closer to home, and hopefully that brings some more fans out as well.
Yeah, I'm not from Missouri, so it's not really that special to me, but I got some friends that went to Mizzou, but other than that, they're pretty excited.
Anything else for the Bulldogs of Drake University? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck tomorrow. Bulldogs and Tigers, 6:35. Head coach of the Drake Bulldogs at Missouri Valley Conference Coach of the Year is here, Ben McCullum. We're going to ask Ben to talk about his team, how him being here in Wichita, Kansas, and then we'll go to questions. Ben, please.
Obviously we're excited to be in the NCAA tournament. We wanted to, in taking this job, we wanted to play in the Division I NCAA tournament, and we didn't know how quickly that would come. Fortunately, it came year one. I think so often people get really excited about making it, and we are. Obviously, we want to be able to, compete in it as well, and try to win a game or two or whatever you can, and try to fight our way into one of those. As far as our team goes, we're a smaller team in regards to the amount of people. We've got 12 kids, one of which is a medical redshirt, and 2 are redshirting. So we have 9 kids essentially on our roster that can play. It's by design. Our whole objective was to get our culture set early with tough kids, and we always felt like that could create the results that we obviously created this year. We've prepared for this week. We've had a good week and a half of practice, and we're definitely excited to be able to play in this environment.
Start off right here in the second row. Thank you.
Yeah, Gabe DeArmond with PowerMizzou.com. Coach, I know you've had a group of Northwest Missouri State fans and a lot of people from Maryville come up and support that program and have really been bought in your first year. What's that support meant to you from the school that you were at prior?
Yeah, I think it means a lot, especially to our kids. I think the reason people do support is because of the personnel that we have in our program. And, obviously the 4 kids specific to the Maryville people that have supported us with Daniel, Isaiah, Bennett, and Mitch, they're as good a kids as there is. And so they're easy to support. They're easy to cheer for. And that's why those people came up. I'd like to say it was just because they like me so much, but I'm not that cool. So it's been awesome. The entire city of Des Moines has embraced them. But again, those kids are pretty easy to embrace, and they're special people.
Eli Hoff, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Coach, as far as pace and tempo of this game goes, you guys tend to be a team that's on the more patient end of the spectrum. Well, Missouri, your players were saying up here tries to speed you up. Just what do you see as the tension there and how that element could play out tomorrow? Yeah,
I like how you worded that. Some people would say slow. Patient tempo. That's fantastic. I'm going to use that from now on. And I've explained this a few times. It's not that we try to slow it down. It's that it is difficult for us to get a shot because of the athleticism on the other side of the ball. Certain games we're able to play a little bit faster and have more possessions. Obviously, Mizzou, I don't know. Defensively, they run quite a few defenses. So you kind of just have to take what they give you. If it's 5 seconds in, then you need to shoot it. If it's 25 seconds in, then shoot it. But our intent isn't necessarily to just slow the game down per se. Obviously the SEC is a fast league and an athletic league. Mizzou's very athletic. They play very fast. They're very well coached. They're a tough matchup for anybody in the country, to be quite honest.
Joey Van Zummeren with Missouri Tigers on SI. Ben, could you just talk about the double-edged sword that the transfer portal presents in terms of job security and confidence as coach, in the terms of, you can rebuild a program very quickly, have success in year one like you did. Missouri can turn around the program like they did, but then also having that just shorter patience maybe from athletic staffs with that.
Yeah, a lot there to unpack. The transfer portal, and I was affected by it once. We had a kid go to Creighton, but it was for his COVID season. He had played for 5 years for us. Obviously, we benefited from it this year where our kids could transfer. I think with a coaching change, I always think kids should be able to transfer. I just think that's, a lot of kids do go to play for a coach. As far as like job security or just maintaining a culture, I think it's probably trickier than ever. I do still think that relationships do matter. But there is, the NIL component of it that makes it tricky as well, where somebody always said, hey, money isn't everything, but it's something, right? And so, you can't ask a kid that could go make X amount of dollars to just stay with you for shockingly less. Now, if it's close, then yeah, obviously that should happen. So the hardest part with the transfer portal is probably the exact, it's almost the exact opposite of why I would have gotten into this profession. I think when you coach kids, and sometimes you have to coach them hard, and sometimes you have to make them super uncomfortable, and sometimes you have to discipline them. And when they have a crutch, or what is known as an out, if it doesn't go their way, naturally as a coach, and I don't, but naturally as most coaches, you might not discipline that kid one time. You might not do that because it's going to benefit you, but it's not going to benefit that kid. And so I think that's where, the kids are kind of disserviced, essentially, because we don't get to coach them as much. We don't get to make them better people as much because they just move. And it's not a kid problem, necessarily. A lot of it's just an adult problem that we need to fix, more so than anything else. Long answer, but it's a loaded question.
We have multiple questions in the queue. We're going to start here and go to the right. Go.
Nathan Geese, Lubbock Avalanche Journal. A couple of years ago, when Grant McCaslin became the coach at Texas Tech, your name came up as potentially joining the staff as an assistant. How real was that? How close was that? And ultimately, what kind of just decided against that for you?
Grant's one of my really close friends, and obviously Jeff Linders too, and Luke and Choki and all those guys. There's been opportunities for those kind of jobs throughout. Specific to that one, probably doesn't help me to say one way or the other. But he's probably the one of the few people in the world that I would work for, because he's that good a human being. And he is, and he's a great coach. So, but outside of that, I probably wanted to stay a head coach. That's why I didn't pursue a lot of those opportunities throughout my career.
Right-hand side, Ben.
Hi, Ben McCollum.
Yeah, I don't even know who this guy is.
Brandon
Don't ask
Zenner-
me a serious question. I don't like those, Brandon.
Brandon Zenner, KWH-12 here in Wichita. What do you think, or what do you hope that your team says about the level of players and coaching that there are at all levels of college basketball, from D2 up to here and even below?
Yeah, I mean, obviously at this level, there's this is a bad way to say it. There's more better players or more good players at the mid-major level, obviously the high major level. There are still good players and good college basketball players and good college teams at the Division II level. At the Division III level, NAI, junior college, all the way through high school for that matter. And, if you're coaching one of those or if you're playing at one of those, it's still ultimately the purpose of basketball and college basketball for me is to still kind of change people's lives through the game of basketball. Well, you can still do that at all those levels. And so naturally, I do think there's good players. I do think there's good players that can advance. But part of that is, part of going back to the transfer portal deal is, it's speed dating in the transfer portal, so you never know who could actually play. So then people panic, they take the wrong kids, those kids transfer, and guys like myself will look at somebody and trust their own eyes and take a Bennett Sertz, take a Trevor Hudgens, and then all of a sudden it works out for us.
We have 7 minutes left in this session. I know we have 5 questions in the queue, so let's start right here.
Grant Salzman, Columbia, Missouri, and I asked Bennett this and Mitch and was curious your answer. What's this last year been like, going from Maryville at Northwest Missouri State to now coming to Drake, having the success you guys have had, and now at the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, hard. It's for me personally, you move your whole family. You're at a place for 15 years that you loved, and you kind of had everything rolling. In saying that, I think sometimes you have to experience hard to grow and to essentially thrive and make yourself a better person, make yourself a better coach. And it ended up working out great, and now it's obviously a lot more fun when you win games. But I still think the growth would have came regardless of winning or losing games. So it's been a year that we'll always remember. I want to continue this year, though, so I don't want to necessarily get nostalgic or look back. But you'd be lying to say if winning isn't hard. It looks really cool and really fun, and this is the coolest story ever. But there's some tough days there, and I'm proud of our kids for fighting through them.
Hey, Coach. Drew King with PowerMizzou.com. You mentioned earlier Missouri can play defense in a lot of different ways. I'm curious kind of what goes into preparing for a team that can give you a lot of different looks like that.
A lot. You can't overthink it, though, meaning I think a lot of it is, to try to stymie you for 2-3 possessions at a time. Okay, maybe you score a couple times in man, they'll go to their 1-1-3 or their 2-3, whatever you call it. Then maybe they'll press with their diamond press, or they'll go man press, or they might trap you at half court, or they'll blitz ball screens on occasion, they'll switch ball screens, they'll tag from certain places and not tag from others. And so, you can kind of get down a rabbit hole trying to figure it out. And a lot of it just comes back to conceptual basketball of, just playing the right way, move the basketball, do what we've done all season long, and keep it pretty simple.
Left-hand side, Ben.
Hi, Ben. Alyssa from the Des Moines Register. I know you haven't been asked about this at all in the past few days, but your name comes up a lot in coaching conversations. What would you kind of say in regards to that? And then two-part, how do you keep the focus on your team in this tournament right now?
Yeah, so, some of those rumors have been around for 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, it's just the nature of having a level of success, and, it's kind of a gift and a curse, I guess. I've tried, and over years you've learned how to not have a divided heart and to focus everything on the team that you have. And that's what I'll continue to do is focus all my attention on this team, and that's what I've done. That's what I did for 7, 8 years at Northwest Missouri State, and then eventually we made the move to Drake. That's what I'll continue to do here outside of and half of them. I haven't taken 6 jobs at this point. So according to social media, I probably have, though. So, I just focus on this is a great accomplishment, and this is a great team, and I just refuse to have a divided heart in regards to that.
Right-hand side, Ben.
Yeah, Taylor Eldridge here with Wichita Eagle. Dating back to the Emporia State days, how did Coach Mo empower you? How important was that in your coaching career? And then second part, Emporia State players, they want to know if you still run 20 and 20s in practice.
Second part, yes, we still do that. It was harder to get them to fail this year, and that 20 and 20 is absolutely. I ran a 20 and 20 once for a bet. I won't say what I bet, but I bet, and we won, and I made it. The first question was David Moe, empowered. That's a good word to use that. A lot of times he just said, go do it. He empowered me to drive the bus, too. Empowered me to do all the scouts, empowered me to do a lot of the recruiting. I was empowered, no. But no, he was, honestly, from an offensive basketball perspective and a personnel perspective, one of the smartest people I've ever been around. Because his dad, Doug, obviously, those two are just basketball, geniuses. They just, it just clicks for them. They just kind of get it. So I learned offensive side of the ball just from an efficiency perspective, what kind of players wins games, how do you define roles, et cetera. And then, I also learned a level of loyalty from him where he's a very loyal person to me, still is to this day. I'll get a random text or a call, and I know when that call comes, it's going to be an hour-and-a-half conversation. He's going to tell me how to coach, but it's a beautiful thing. So he was great to me, and the city of Emporia was one of my favorite places to live. It's an awesome place, too.
Final question right here.
Dean Rao, Rock M Nation. Coach, I was wondering, you talked about the SEC being a fast and physical and athletic league, and you guys have had a run with the SEC previously this year with Vanderbilt. What can you guys take away from that game in particular that allows you to prepare for this one?
Yeah, I mean, it was so early that I'm not sure we can take a ton from it. I think Vanderbilt's athletic. I think Mizzou's a little bit higher level of athlete. than Vandy. I think Vandy's probably a little bit different in regards to like just efficiency. You know, I mean, Mizzou's just a different level of power and physicality and athleticism and all those things. And so you can't really simulate that unless I got out there. You know, maybe I could simulate some of their athletes. If I bet you don't believe me there. No, but no, it's hard to simulate that stuff, and you just have to have a plan and hope the plan works. And you know, if it does, it does. And you got to put your best foot forward and try to compete and fight. And you know, I think our guys will do that.
Ben, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck tomorrow. Drake Bulldogs, Missouri Tigers at 6:35. And Missouri will be up on the dais at 2:05 Central Time. Thank you.